This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on our podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. Listen, we're going to stay on this path of gaining a understanding of our nation, different dynamics that affect us as Americans. And we're going to always keep our flag behind us to remind us of the importance of our nation, praying for America, praying for the citizens thereof, praying for our president. Here's our presidential seal. I love this seal because it reminds me of the leadership and the cabinet of the executive branch that they need our prayers. They need guidance. They need direction. And so we want to pray for them, their families. We want to pray for the Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. That's still going on. The numbers are going down. There's a lot of dynamics going on. You know, we've got companies, trillions of dollars have been invested. There's some amazing jobs that are coming to our nation. It's going to take time for it to unfold. So tonight, we're going to continue to dissect things that affect us as Americans and affect our nation. We're going to examine something that's generated a lot of discussion in our nation. America first. Things are going to heat up as it relates to America first with this election in 2026, and we're going to dissect some things related to it. And from our clinical perspective, we're going to deal with strength in national security. Listen, let's dive in. Some Democrats on Capitol Hill in Washington panicked after a top Trump general addressed the issue of having a massive troop shift. Anyone who loves America should be thrilled. You know why? Listen, President Trump is focused on his national security strategy. Guys, we've been so compromised in the past to the point that the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal left billions of dollars of our military equipment in the hands of terrorists. It just is. That's what happened. And then in August of 2024, they paraded it. Those terrorists, they had a parade, and they just paraded our equipment. Who would have ever thought? But that's our reality. So the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dan Kane, made a statement at the Reagan National Defense Forum that stopped many in their tracks. It got my attention, but listen to what was said. This is what he stated. If you look back over the arc of our deployment history, now I'm a Blue Star mother. Oh yeah, I'm the mother of a first lieutenant, and he's just amazing. He loves serving. I love him. I love the honor of being a Blue Star mom. So I pay attention to all this stuff. I do. It means something to me. If you look, this is what the Joint Chief, the head of the Joint Chief of Staff said, General Kane. If you look back over the arc of our deployment history over the last few years, we haven't had a lot of American combat power in our own neighborhood. I suspect that's probably going to change. Immediately, left-leaning critics accused President Trump of touting reckless isolationism and abandoning allies. A few even spun it. Of course, they spin it. It was spanned as war coming to American soil. This can fall under the category of an America First military strategy. Many believe it is brilliant. Some don't, but many believe it's brilliant. Now, let's stick with me. We're going somewhere, and it's expecting us when we get there. But we have to understand framework, guys. We have to understand what is the perspective? Why would this even be considered and us doing something different than what we've done before? Listen, stick with me. We're going somewhere here. Could it be that the reason why some hate it is because it is the exact opposite of what they've told us for 100 years that we should be doing, namely sending our troops overseas to be a global police force instead of keeping them at home? Think about it. If the focus is on protecting us here, which is certainly warranted, guys, all these people, the illegal immigrants they were accosting people's body, the R word, homicide, it is 13,000 of them were roaming around that were guilty. They were already being convicted. You got to remember that the Obama, Biden, Harris cabal paroled people out of prison. Why were they in prison? In Cuba, Haiti, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. That gang what's the name? I don't want to mess up the title of that, but that gang out of Venezuela, they were taking over apartment buildings in Arizona, guys. These people, they don't play. It's some shiesty people, criminals, murderers that were here. Do we need protection here in our nation? Do we need trained people that can protect us? It's a huge part of being the epitome of America being first. Do you remember seeing the illegal immigrant? You got to remember 14 million were brought in to this nation in 2023 under the Obama, Biden, Harris cabal. Do you remember seeing illegal immigrants being willfully lined up to come in our nation under that cabal? Who were these people? Well, now we've come to find out that some of them were the most heinous criminals ever. I heard it stated this way: America is standing in the doorway right now. Actually, when you think about it, we've never been in this position before, guys. We have lived through some of the most horrible chaos in modern times. Economic crashes to set us up for sponsoring the stimulus package under Obama. Obamacare fiasco. All you got to do is Google some of this stuff, guys. These things were fraudulent. They were riddled with fraudulent scams and money laundering fronts. So we had all these things that were willfully set up. The stimulus package, Obamacare fiasco, COVID-19, where over 1 million Americans died. 8,000 of our military personnel were fired for simply, Joe Biden fired them for simply practicing their constitutional rights. Being confronted with 14 million illegal immigrants being brought into our nation in 1 year, 2023, while Americans suffered, finding out that billions of our taxpayer dollars was spent on fraudulent scams and money laundering fronts. That's our reality. Guys, think about what we have just lived through. And just ahead, at least according to the national security strategy, is a course of correction. That's what commander-in-chiefs do. Presidents are supposed to do that and not hide in their basements and can't even complete a sentence. Could it be so sweeping that honestly it becomes a rediscovery of the American civilization itself? That's a profound thought. The strategy is this: America is done hollowing herself out to police the world. Finally, the focus is on coming home to rebuild a safe, sovereign republic with strong borders, industry, families being protected, energy independent, energy thriving and growing, pushing our economy, and unapologetic national pride. I'll say that again. Unapologetic national pride. I have a lot of it. And I thank God for leading me on a path to explore original documents going back to the 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s to see what really went on in this nation and realizing that I've been lied to. I know the truth, and I'm shouting the truth from the mountaintop. I'm going to say that again. Listen to this. Here's the focus: rebuild a safe, sovereign republic with strong borders, industry, families, energy, and unapologetic national pride. Imagine that. This is not just about building the strongest military. It's also about developing the world's strongest economy and spirit via ending mass migration, targeting cartels, getting them out of here, protecting God-given rights, holding allies accountable, reindustrializing the country, and becoming energy dominant. Did you hear me? There are also plans to compete with China economically, technologically, and militarily, and calls for a sovereign Europe, which is dying due to declining birth rates, uncontrolled migration. They have taken over in the areas over there. Censorship, loss of identity, and regulatory suffocation. President Trump took away all that regulatory stuff. Businesses begin to thrive. Guys, is that what we want in our nation? Do we want declining birth rates, uncontrolled migration, censorship, loss of identity, and regulatory suffocation? Do we? But the strategy also smartly accounts for Europe's demise, should it happen. It asserts that America is not going to honor NATO for any country that falls. Guys, Marco Rubio is so keyed into our national interests, and so many of our fellow Americans that we're surrounded by, they are clueless. I'm not. Somebody's got to be thinking about this stuff. So when something jumps off and goes wrong and goes awry and people start getting hurt, why wasn't anyone paying attention? Baby, we got people that are paying attention and that are not setting us up for failure and harm. A lot of things, guys, were orchestrated upon us. It just was. This plan is to address the Middle East as well, declaring the forever wars officially being over. Not because the region suddenly became peaceful. This stuff's got to be walked out. But you know, President Trump was involved in brokering 9 peace treaties totally. Guys, who's ever done that? And y'all want to lie on this man and say he's a numbskull goofball. One of the best presidents I've seen out of 13 that I've seen. He is the best. And I'll stick with it. I don't give 2 cents about y'all lying on him, because I'm going to tell the truth. What would happen if America is finally strong enough strategically, diplomatically, militarily to shift from a constant crisis management to long-term stabilization? What would happen? And finally, the strategy looks to Africa. Now think about this, where historically with Africa, the U.S. has exported ideology instead of opportunity. No more lectures, no more nation building, no more endless aid with no accountability. Guys, USAID didn't have any accountability. 83% of those contracts was shut down, and they needed to be because they were money laundering fronts. Like, well, we gotta help Africa. We gotta help here. We gotta go to Sierra Leone. We gotta go there. Guys, a lot of those things we were paying for surgeries. Transition surgeries, guys. That's not building a country. That's not helping them with farming and people. Well, that's medical, baby. Listen, wrong focus. We want to help people that are in hospitals that might die, need life-sustaining intervention. Not transitioning. If you want to do that, do it on your own dime, not my taxpayer dollars. As it's turned out, USAID was not helping foreign countries as it should have been under the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal. My money, your money was paying for transition surgeries, transgender comic books. It was waste, fraud, and abuse, and it's been stopped. It's been stopped. Overall, this is a common sense strategy that allows America to love itself again and to be who she should be. There's our flag. And let everyone else be who they should be. Y'all want to do that over there? Y'all have at it, but not on our taxpayer dime, baby. No. Thank God we got a commander-in-chief that has stopped that foolishness. What are the advantages of having a blueprint for a country that wants to live again and thrive? Guys, we want to thrive. I want our posterity to thrive. I've messed around and got older. My shift has changed, and I will cry loud and spare nothing. I know what's at stake from so many perspectives. Some elites don't want America to be first. They want global institutions that outrank the Constitution, border security for everyone but America, and American workers forever paying the tab for the rest of the world. The gig is up. It's over. Remember the 5 holes? HOLES, it was just a hole that our money was going into: the stimulus package, Obamacare, COVID-19, USAID, NGOs, and illegal immigration. Guys, look what's going on in Minnesota. It's a clear picture. Billions and billions and billions of dollars of our money. Wow. Just squandered. They live lavish lifestyles, and they were wiring money over in Africa, over there across the water, while we suffered. I work hard, and I want my taxpayer dollars to go towards the elderly, the veterans, our children being properly educated, not to fraudulent Somalians and people that are over here getting over on us like a fat rat. It is what it is. Can we get the American people on board? I say yes. How? We're going to provoke thought, bring awareness by shouting the truth from the mountaintop, plan for success, execute strategies, skills, and tools for wellness, recovery, and success. We can do this. We're resilient Americans. Is the president reflecting the national spirit? Think about it. Does President Trump reflect a national spirit? Do we want to live again? Or do we want to implode? Guys, we on the way to imploding. Anybody that's paying attention knows it. And the people that don't get it, we need to keep saying it to them. Keep it to the forefront. Yes. Do we want to be relegated to the dustbin of history? Or does America have other great work to do? Baby, I'm still here. You're still here. So God's not done with America. We're still here. We want to protect this country, its people, its territory, its economy. We're talking about America first, and its way of life from military attack and hostile foreign influence, whether espionage, predatory trade practices, drug and human trafficking, destructive propaganda and influence operations, cultural subversion, or any other threat to our nation, guys, it's got to be confronted. The bottom line is that we want America to be first, and that involves all of us and our families. This brings us to our clinical perspective: strength and national security. Oh yeah, there is a lot. Strength is manifested in a lot of different ways. To have solid national security, we have to have strategies. Marco Rubio, that's his area. Oh yeah, that's him. I love him. He's good. He'll probably end up being president one day. Wow. Can you imagine J.D. Vance being president one day, Marco Rubio being president one day, Pete being Pete Hedgepeth, the guy in charge of the Department of War, being president one day? Guys, that's some powerful stuff right there. That's leadership with backbone. And God, let it be so. Let it be so. To ensure that America remains the world's strongest, richest, most powerful, and most successful country for decades to come, our country needs a coherent focused strategy for how we interact with the world. And to get that right, all Americans need to know what exactly it is that we're trying to do and why. And that's the kind of stuff that I talk about over here. We have to have a strategy. We need to be educated. We need to be informed. Why do we need a strategy? A strategy is a concrete, realistic plan that explains the essential connection between ends and means. It begins from an accurate assessment of what is desired and what tools are available or can realistically be created to achieve a desired outcome. A strategy must evaluate, it sorts and prioritizes not every country, region, issue, or cause, however worthy, can be the focus of American strategy. We stand uniquely as America and as Americans. We have to always have foreign policy with strategies. The purpose of foreign, why do we need foreign policy? It is the protection of core national interests. That's the sole focus of that strategy. American strategies since the end of the Cold War have fallen short. They have been laundry lists of wishes, or desired end states. They have not clearly defined regarding what we want, but instead stated vague platitudes or have often misjudged what we should want. After the end of the Cold War, American foreign policy elites, they convinced themselves that permanent American domination of the entire world was in the best interest of our country. Yet, the affairs of other countries are our concern only if their activities directly threaten our interest. Guys, we had the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal, they jacked us up like it's a mess what they did to us. We're digging out of this hole. That's what President Trump walked into. And you get people, they don't want to acknowledge what went on. I do, because it frames everything. Our elites badly miscalculated America's willingness to shoulder forever global burdens to which the American people saw no connection to the national interest. Guys, it didn't connect to our national interest. With these money laundering fronts and these fraudulent scams, it emboldened and enriched all these other players, not us as Americans. They overestimated America's ability to fund simultaneously a massive welfare, regulatory, administrative state alongside a massive military, diplomatic, intelligence, and foreign aid complex. Guys, there's a lot of things going on. It's a lot of things that dynamics that have to be considered. This is why we need to be praying for our president. We need to be praying for his cabinet. It's a lot. This man is straightening out a mess. They placed hugely misguided and destructive bets on globalism. That was Obama's claim to fame, and Biden just continued. It's the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal. My God, I'm glad that woman's not in there. With her cackling self, guys, it was a mess. They placed hugely misguided and destructive bets on globalism and so-called free trade that hollowed out the very middle class and industrial base on which American economic and military preeminence depend. They allowed allies and partners to offload the cost of their defense onto who? The American people. And sometimes to suck us into conflicts and controversies central to their interests, but peripheral or irrelevant to our own. Look at Russia and the Russian, that whole conflict, Zelensky and Putin, it's a mess. There's a lot of behind the scenes work going on with that. Marco Rubio, keep him in prayer. Pray for the executive branch and the cabinet thereof. And they lashed American policy to a network. We're talking about, we're framing this of what happened. They lashed American policy to a network of international institutions, some of which were driven by outright anti-Americanism and many by a transnationalism that explicitly seeks to dissolve individual state sovereignty. Guys, we were imploding in some. Not only did our elites pursue a fundamentally undesirable and impossible goal, in doing so, they undermined the very means necessary to achieve that goal. The character of our nation upon which its power, wealth, and decency were built. America's not perfect, but we got a lot going on, and we have people, hardworking, trained people that want our nation to thrive. President Trump's necessary, welcomed correction has not been accepted by all. During President Trump's first administration, it proved that with the right leadership, making the right choices, all the above could and should have been avoided and much else achieved. But there were those that were fighting against him. He and his team successfully, however, marshaled America's great strengths to correct course and begin ushering in a new golden age for our country. To continue the United States on that path, we got to continue, guys, or we were going to go back to imploding. But to continue us on that path is the overarching purpose of President Trump's second administration, and he's not playing. And of this document of what they're doing, the question before us now is this: what should the United States want? Think about it. What should we want? What are our available means to get it? This is how he thinks. How can we connect ends and means into a viable national security strategy? Is there wisdom in having national strategies for our survival, safety, and success? I say resoundingly, yes, yes, yes. What have we looked at tonight? America first. And our clinical perspective has been strength. All that I just laid out is strength in national security. Guys, we were all over the place. It was a mess. We see Bumbling Joe and Lying Joe. They did, guys, oh, Lord. God had mercy on us by Kamala Harris losing a GOP trifecta and going in. We're in 2026 now. We got an election coming up, guys. We have to win. We have to win. We got to educate people. Keep coming over here. Send this out. Share it with others so people can start getting there, thinking right with clarity, with a framework, with facts, with understanding, instead of going off half-cocked with emotionalism that's based upon manipulation, deception, and lies. Guys, we're going to keep going at it. We're going to keep coming back. Listen, yes, yes, yes. Thank you for supporting this podcast. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for engaging people. Have groups and talk and look at this stuff and dissect it, and let's respect each other as Americans, because we're going somewhere and it's expecting us when we get here. You know, my whole focus on this podcast, from destruction to dignity, all this stuff that was going on, there were destructive patterns, but we're going towards a path of dignity. Yes, getting America back. America being first, yes. Having national security, from destruction to dignity, clinical perspectives, strategies, skills, and tools that look different types of ways, things to consider. Clinical perspective, spiritual truths. Guys, we're one nation under God. A nation divided against itself, we can't stand. A house divided against itself can't stand. But together, we can do great things, and I'm going to keep talking about it. So, guys, I will see you next week, because we're going to keep going in. This is a pivotal year like never seen before. We're in a position to lockdown 2026 and this election that's coming forth, and then we got a presidential election in 2028. And you know, as long as I have breath in my body, I'm going to be talking about this thing, because we're one nation under God. Yes, we are, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, as we continue to go from destruction to dignity, clinical perspectives, spiritual truths. I will see you guys next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are God empowered, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication.